Hey everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here. Late week edition of Browns Thoughts for you. I've had a lot of Browns content here on the channel since we rebranded as the Off the Mic Sports Network. But I want to bring this thing in as sort of a more in-depth preview of Browns Jags on Sunday. It's a really interesting game between two 0-1 teams. Two very disappointing losses for these franchises in week one. Obviously, the Browns get absolutely destroyed by the Dallas Cowboys on national television, while the Jags kind of quietly blew a big lead against the Miami Dolphins and lost on a last-second field goal. This franchise has been in free fall mode, and I don't even think it's getting nearly enough attention. The way that they fell apart at the end of the last season and ultimately missed the playoffs, and the Houston Texans won the AFC South and won a playoff game actually against the Cleveland Browns. This ultimately could have been and probably should have been a first-round playoff matchup last year, but the Jags fell apart. And the Browns ended up playing the Houston Texans in the first round of the playoffs, the wild card round, and lost. So, but here we are, 0-1 Jags hosting the 0-1 Browns. And first of all, I got a lot of questions about this Jaguars organization. I don't know what to think of Trevor Lawrence. He just got paid very recently, and the numbers that he is putting up aren't really what you would like to see from a star franchise quarterback as heralded as he was, which is kind of an issue. But at least the saving grace about him is he's a model citizen and he conducts himself like a true franchise quarterback. Whereas the franchise quarterback in Cleveland is an unmitigated disaster. You guys have seen everything I've had to say about Deshaun Watson on this channel. Yet somehow, in the face of this new allegation that came out earlier in the week, in relation to another completely different incident with even more heinous allegations alleging rape, let's call it what it is, and more details from Tony Busby saying they're going to interview with the NFL in a couple weeks, and there's pertinent video involved in this. First of all, if you're the Browns organization, how in the hell are you allowing this guy to hit the field? There's a simple answer to this question, and Jason Lloyd pointed it out in a column that he did for The Athletic this week. It's something that I've been saying for a while now. This is entirely ownership. This is Jimmy and Dee Haslam. They were so desperate to get a quarterback into their organization after Baker Mayfield flamed out and didn't want to be with them. And they were told no by Deshaun Watson, and yet they came back with this insane, ridiculous $230 million contract for a guy who hadn't played in a year and was going to get suspended. You just saying that continuously just hammers home how ridiculous this contract in this trade was. For the Browns to take that big of a leap of faith and be that desperate, no wonder the Browns organization and the people at the top of it in ownership desperately want to try and see this guy succeed. He's only played 13 games, but again, it's been 3 years already. And he missed 11 games last year. He missed 11 the year before because of suspension. He missed 11 in 2023 because of injury and a lot of other assortments of things that were just odd. Like, this whole thing has been weird. And you take a look at the way Deshaun's conducted himself and the way his body language is on the field. He looks like he'd rather be anywhere else but Cleveland. He, in the media, very nonchalant. He's asked questions about this lawsuit, how it's going to, why does this keep happening? He goes, and he tells the reporter, you and I are in the same boat, boss, man. Dude, you don't get it's not an accident that you've had 20 plus civil lawsuits for you for sexual assault. And the reports are, he says he found out about the lawsuit the same time as everybody else. The people on the other side are saying, and Tony Busby are saying, we told Deshaun Watson's legal team about this 10 months ago. So he might be hiding stuff, and that's embarrassing if the Browns didn't vet out this process in getting Deshaun Watson and making this happen. But the one thing that I really want to hammer home here in this segment specifically, and then we can get to the game. There are people who are saying, if Deshaun Watson balls out Sunday and you've been trashing him all week and try to post something positive, just know I have receipts. There's real people in the Browns fan base. It's nice to have seen that a lot of people in the Browns fan base have sort of rallied and basically said, you know what, rip the Band-Aid off, get him the fuck out of here. He can't play. He's a creep. He's a scumbag. We need to end this. But if you're one of those people like Drew and Tucky on social media, I'll even out him. I don't really give a shit. If you're one of those people, Drew, if that's your real name, first of all, everybody who has been trashing him is not rooting for him to do well. If you've paid attention to anything, I'll be honest with you, in this Browns game against the Jags on Sunday, I hope the Browns win the game similar to the way that the Bears and the Steelers won in week 1, without an offensive touchdown. And I know that completely goes against one of my big things in football, is that if you're an opposing team that doesn't score an offensive touch, that allows no offensive touchdowns and somehow still loses, like the Falcons and like the Titans did last week to the Bears and the Steelers, like, that's not a good thing for any franchise. But you know what? The Jags need a humbling experience in this as well. So it may almost be fitting for them to kind of get a wake-up call if they were to lose one of these games where, you know, Dustin Hopkins kicks 4 field goals and the Browns get a pick 6 on defense and they just win the game like that without Deshaun Watson having to do anything. Because here's the thing. I don't want the Browns to win this game because of Deshaun Watson. I want it to be evident to ownership, and it should already be based on the fact that they made the playoffs without this guy, that, hey, if there is a means to get out of that contract, stop kidding yourselves and stop trying to, you know, push this narrative out there that Deshaun Watson is somehow going to be the savior of this franchise. The evidence is there. He sucks. And if you're one of these fans saying, hey, I hope he plays well, and if he plays well, and you have all been trashing him all week, don't post anything positive. First of all, those people don't exist. You're in your own fantasy land, so shut the fuck up. And if you have receipts, who cares? Because, like I said, nobody's saying that. Nobody who is sane is rooting for Deshaun Watson to do well. And that's the part of this that sucks about, because I love this organization, despite the ownership being very shitty. I want to root for this team. I've supported this team for 25 years, and yet somehow they continue to let me down. So I just need them to have an out. So, you know, if they lose and they go to 0-2, it's obviously going to suck. I'd rather them win. I think they will win. I think the defense will play pretty well. I think Trevor Lawrence is, honest to God, in a really bad spot. And I think this is, I don't know what to think of this team, man. Like, Travis Etienne's making key fumbles. The defense, played okay against Miami, but then, you know, the offense kind of stalled out at 17 points, and they're going in for a score, and they couldn't do anything else, and they never could recover. So, the Browns should win this game. I think they're the better team, even though they're not favored. They have, I think, outside of the quarterback, I think they're a superior team in terms of the roster. Jack Conklin's going to be back for this game, which is awesome. Jed Wills is not, but still, the offensive line has been an issue. So Deshaun will probably have a better game, but I don't want him to be the reason that the Browns win this game against the Jags on Sunday. In regards to the Jags, if this team falls to 0-2, we've got to start having a serious discussion about Trevor Lawrence, because this guy was brought in as a franchise changer, best prospect since Andrew Luck. I heard all of the things, and the returns have not been great so far. I know that first year was kind of a wash because of the Urban Meyer experiment. He's now in year 3 under a really good Super Bowl winning head coach in Doug Peterson. And the end of last season gives me a lot of concern for the future of this organization, because the Houston Texans are on the rise. The Indianapolis Colts are on the rise. Like, they still have a ways to go, and Anthony Richardson is ascending. I don't know how much further Trevor Lawrence can go. I don't know if this is who he is in the NFL, because he's been a turnover machine. He hasn't taken very good care of the ball. And the Jags have done their best to surround him with talent, even if their front office is admittedly kind of a faulty one. But it's just, this is a weird game, because both of these organizations have problems. I have more concerns, obviously, about the quarterback in Cleveland, because I think he's a lost cause. Trevor Lawrence is different, man. He just got paid, and he was deemed to be the franchise savior. This is his 4th season, and if they don't start performing at a high level, at what point do you start wondering to yourself, okay, is this who we are? Are we just a wild card team, or are we just, the third or fourth best team division winner in the AFC, because given all of the hype around Trevor Lawrence, there's no reason why he can't perform at the level of Patrick Mahomes. He's got all the ability in the world, and he's got at least enough talent. Patrick Mahomes probably had less talent around him last year and went to the Super Bowl. So why can't Trevor Lawrence deliver? So in regards to the Jags, this is an interesting one for them too. They got to win this game too. I think the Browns will win. Like I said, I hope it's not because of Deshaun Watson. I hope this defense plays well. I think the defense was really put in a tough spot last week because the offense played so bad, and that's why they gave up so many points. They also gave up a punt return. So the Browns defense wasn't so catastrophically awful that you needed to, just wave the white flag. I think Jim Schwartz and this defense are going to play well, and they're going to be fine from the long haul. It was just a bad week all around, and it didn't help that the offense wasn't moving the ball at all. So that's my breakdown. That's my Browns thoughts for Browns Jags. I think the Browns win this game. They're a 3-point dog. Give me them plus the 3, and I think they'll win outright. But if they go to 0-2, again, we're gonna have more conversations about the quarterback. I said this 4-game stretch, all of them winnable games. This is the first one. It is a road game, but I have confidence that the Browns should go over there and win, and Kevin Stefanski will have a better game plan. But make no mistake about it, I am not rooting for Deshaun Watson in any way whatsoever, and that's strange for me as a Browns fan. I can't root for the quarterback of my team, but I will root for the rest of this team because it is a really good roster, which is why this contract and this trade has just made me lose my fucking mind. So like, share, and subscribe to everything on the channel. A lot of different variety here. Appreciate y'all tuning in here. Obviously, a lot of wrestling stuff coming up this weekend, and we'll have a lot of new and great content throughout the weekend and into next week. So talk to you guys real soon. Enjoy your NFL Sunday and college football as well. Loaded sports weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.